grab a marker or a pen, make corrections because I will hand this one back to you Monday. Right? All right. So we'll see how you did. If you kind of got stuck a little bit, then maybe after today, right, you'll know where you have to pay attention, and maybe update your study sheets, all of those things, right? That's what this is designed to do. All right. So we have this enclosure, and so it stands to reason, right, that this would be right length and length, and every shorter stretch we attach width to it, right? So the perimeter would be 2L plus 4W. Okay, and so we're given 900 feet of fencing available. And this is kind of asking you, hey, isolate L, right? That's what I'm kind of doing here. So the next step would be showing that, right, the 4W came over subtracting, and then isolating L means you can't have anything other than 1 around it, right? So there's supposed to be an L there. So divide both sides by 2. That's what you were supposed to do there, right? Cancel that out. And you can leave it like this, but 2 goes in there, right? 450 times, 2 goes in there 2 times. So it actually reduces to 450 minus 2W. Like if either this or just leave it like that, right? 900 minus 4W over 2. Both of them are saying the exact same thing, okay? So that would give you a mark there if you did this correctly. If you didn't do this right, then you lose a mark, right? Which makes it complicated when marking, because I have to use your isolated, whatever you got here. Like let's say you didn't divide by 2, you just have 900 minus 4W, yours is going to look a lot different. But I don't keep taking away as we go along, right? You only kind of get it wrong once. Okay, so anyways, to get the length, I already entered this. So this is really 900. Sorry, I use the simplified. 450 minus 2W, right? So 450 minus 250, right? So that's 350. This ends up being 250, and this ends up being 150, right? If you do the work, I'll skip that. And so the area is just 350 times 50, and 250 times 100, and 150 times 150. So obviously this will look different, right? If you didn't divide by 2, then it's 900 minus 200, so this would be 700, right? It basically double. So we just take it, right? We just say the steps are correct, so we don't take off marks. So if you filled in this chart, you get 1. I basically marked the way we were trained to mark on the provincial exam, right? In grade 12. So determine the equation that relates the length to the area. Okay, come up with an equation. If it doesn't tell you which two, you pick. But area needs to go into L2. You can choose which one of these two you would like to put into L1. But in this case, I tell you, right? So you should have stat calc 5. I'm going to have to play catch up with you because you already have this all done, right? So stat, and then look at this. Look at this mess. I'm getting the stats booklet ready, statistics, that's why I have all that stuff in there. So bear with me a little bit here. I could just give you the answer, but I want to kind of walk you through it just in case. I'm just going to double check. This looks good. Okay, then stat calc 5. 1, 2, vars, y vars, enter, enter, enter. And that's the equation you're supposed to get. What do you get if you don't? I know that there's a chance that you didn't divide by 2. What's the equation you get? Is it x squared plus 450x? Or is it 2x? I don't know what you would get there. But you get a different equation if you got this wrong up here, right? Way up here. It just follows you. So I would have to do that on a test. I would have to have that there to make sure you got it right. So let's just assume today you just get the mark if you typed in, if you give me the keystrokes, you came up with an equation, we give you the marks there. Okay? I don't know why I say we give you the marks. I give you the marks. What is the maximum area? So there you need to go second, trace, max, right? And here I want to go back to the equation though. If you get a 0 value for your x squared, then that's when you wouldn't get any marks. Because if this is not, if there's no x squared term, that means that you entered L1, length L1, width L2. That's what you did. And that I can't accept, okay? So I'm going to go zoom 9. Really? That's how easy that was? Doesn't seem right. But if it does, then it does. Yeah, okay. This isn't right, is it? It doesn't seem right. So let's see what I did here. And plot 1 is turned on. That's my equation. All right. Oh yeah, okay, there. So I have to change that to negative. X max, I'm going to change that to 500 for now. Negative 250. And Y max, I'm going to go 50,000. There it is. Boom, good. So second trace 4 to get the max. Lauder max. There you go. 224, 225 rounded. 25,312.5. Right? So the max area is 25,312.5, and we are in feet, so that'd be square feet. Okay, so that value right there tells me what the area is. State the domain and range. Oh, sorry. CD, let's do this in order. What dimensions would result in the maximum area? This right here, because I put length into L1, length should be 225 feet. The width is simply found by taking the area and dividing it by the length. That's how simple that is. And you get 112.50 feet. If you just show me those two, if they're there, then I would give you the marks there for those two values. Domain. I'm just going to use this sketch. I told you not to do it, right? But right, the x value at the right, that's going to be what's going to help us with the domain, right? So I'm going to park it there for now. For range, I go 0, right? If you change the dimensions, you can get to a point where you don't have anything fenced in, right? If you use 0 for either one of them, you don't have an area. So the smallest area is 0, the highest is up here, which I already know is 25,312.5. Okay, so we give you a mark for that. And the x-intercept, if you find it, is 450. The x-intercept is 450, 0. I'm not going to go ahead and do that. So 450 is the maximum length that can be used in this case. But if you use a length of 450, notice that your area is going to be 0, right? So, but it's the maximum you could use there. And we're not graphing, so that's it. So what do we have for this page? 2, 4, 6, 8. So this page is out of 8, not including the graph. All right, and now the fun ones, type 3. Okay, so a goalie kicks a soccer ball, reaches a maximum height of 20 meters after 1.85 seconds. The coach would like to model a path in order to help his players position themselves accordingly. This sequence ends once the ball hits the ground. Sketch a scenario and clearly label 3 points. So here we go. Sketch means just that, sketch, right? So time and height, it's kicked right on the ground, and it lands on the ground again. So clearly labeling 3 points, that would be 0, 0. This is 1.85, 20. And this would be, you multiply that by 2, right? So that would be 3.70 or 3.70, right? So this point right here is worth a full mark, right? So I do need all the other ones that I'm giving you. So this question, right, A is worth 2, but that point right there is worth a full mark. Okay, so if you have everything except for that point, you would only get 1 out of 2. If you find that one, right, you just multiply that by 2 to get that. It's 2 out of 2. So for B, what is the quadratic equation? I would like to see this. If you didn't do it, that's fine. But I'd like to see this moving forward, right, where you just, this is 20, sorry, and then this is 3.70, right? And right, you start at 0, you end at 0. So this is L1, L2, stat, calc, 5. The equation you get, if you do this right, is negative 5.84x squared plus 21.62x. And we start on the ground, so there shouldn't be a constant at the end. So 1 mark for that. And if the table is missing, don't worry about it. You get the mark. No big deal. C, what's the domain and range? So for domain, it's my time, right, from 0 to 3.7. And for the range, we go from 0 all the way to 20. This one was not that bad to just figure it out, right? Like you actually didn't even need a calculator for this one. So you get 1 mark for each of them, right? What I will do is, if you ever need to use your calculator to find either the x-intercept or the vertex or anything that you need to figure out the domain and range, I'll give you an extra mark. So let's say domain and range is worth 2 normally. If you see it's worth 3, that means that there's extra work required to get there. Okay, so we are what, 2, 4, 5 for this question. This question is worth 5 marks. I don't know if you want to just put that down somewhere. It's easier to add it up later. Okay, a circus act involves a clown being launched out of a cannon into a small pool. The pool must be placed accurately. Blah, blah, blah. The circus wants the clown to reach a maximum height of 15 meters from the ground, 6 meters horizontally from the cannon. So here we have distance, right? Horizontal distance and height. And so A says sketch the scenario. So let's go ahead and do that. This is distance, this is height, and watch this. It's important to know where we start. The cannon is placed on a platform that is 4 meters off the ground. So here we don't start at 0, 0, we start somewhere here, right? And then it's right, clown is shot up like this and hits the ground, hopefully lands in the pool, right? So we have these 3 points there for now. And so this would be a 0, 4 would be a start. then it says that at 6 meters horizontally, you would like to reach a maximum height of 15. It's not drawn to scale at all. You have to remember that. I'm just sketching it. And so your biggest temptation that you have to resist is to say, I'm going to find this point. No. Do you start here? So go across your starting point. And some of you have your study sheets and you actually have that well done there, right? This point is the one I can't find, which is right across my starting point. So, right, I will come back to a height of 4, and it will take me twice as long. So this should be 12. Right, so those are the 3 points that I'm after. So again, this one right here is worth a full mark. If everything else is worth 1, and then you get the extra mark for finding the 12.4. You do not know what your x-intercept is at this point. B, what's the equation? Right, so distance, height, 0.4, 6.15, and then 12.4, right? You should see that, right, that you have these here. Okay, I have to say something. It could be that they give you a third point right off the bat, just in the problem. It could be. So don't always think, oh yeah, 4, 4, 5, right, 0, 0. But most of the time, when you come up with a third point, it will be like this, okay? So stat calc 5, y is equal to, I'm going to look off my key here, it's negative 0.3. I use 3 decimals, so it's okay if you use 2. X squared plus 3.667x plus 4. And if you find it frustrating me jumping back and forth, that's okay. I want you to be okay, right? I want you to see it, okay, 3 or 2 or 4, but not less than 2, okay? Not less than 2. So that's your, right? So negative 0.31 x squared plus 3.67 x plus 4, right? If you did 2 decimals, just fine. So give yourself a mark there. So we'll do it this way. If you forgot keystrokes on this page, 1 mark deduction maximum, right? So half a mark every time you miss it, but for this page, just 1 mark deduction for missing the keystroke. So if you forgot stat calc 5 here and here, we'll take off a mark so that it stings a little bit, right? So you don't forget. What are we at here now? We got that. The height, what is the height at a horizontal distance of 7.5? So C, we know, right? No, sorry. I'm misleading you here. We don't know the y value. We know our x value, right? So we will go second, trace 1, x equals to 7.5, right? And then we will get the height from that, which is 14.31 meters. So you can actually answer it like this as long as you have units attached to it. So that would be, don't just leave it at 14.31. And how did I know that this was the x value? It said horizontal distance, right? So they gave me this. I needed to find the height. D, am I going to have enough room? That is the million-dollar question here. D, how far away from the cannon does the pool need to be placed? So it should make sense here that they're asking for that x-intercept, right? And from that x-intercept, we'll find our information. So y2 is equal to 0. Second, trace. So make these, add this to your notes, right? Or to this page if you haven't done so, if you didn't get this part, right? And if you find that, you get 13.010, right? As your x-intercept. So it should be placed 13.01 meters away from cannon. So 13.01 meters away horizontally so that it lands on the clown will land inside the pool. We really want that, right? E, state the domain and range. We actually have everything we need. Domain represents my distance, so it's distance 0 till when you hit the pool. No, sorry, it's not 14. It's 13.01, right? That's my x-intercept. 1 mark for that. Range. It does, right? 0 all the way to the maximum height of 15. Even though you don't start on the ground, at some point you do hit the ground, right? The bottom of the pool, basically. So don't overthink it. It's like, wait a minute, if it lands on the water, it's not really hitting the ground, right? Like, don't overthink it. That's overthinking it. Don't worry about that. It would have to give you some kind of indication that it never touches the ground, just floating at the top, which is, a meter deep or something like that. So don't worry about that too much. F. This one is the one where you really, I'm testing your knowledge of the quadratic equation. Give an example that would result in a clown flying past the pool. I'm going to do this here just real quick because your best friend is technology here. And when I say the word technology, you know who I'm thinking of? Have you watched Napoleon Dynamite, or was that not a thing when you were? I don't know. I'm thinking of, what was it? Kip something? Napoleon's cousin. Okay, hold on. Window. We don't need to go that, right? 15, negative 10, and a maximum of maybe 20. So this is the original one. This is the one you've got. Maybe a little bit different because I manually entered it. So what you can do is you basically, I don't think there's a copy function. Is there? Did anybody figure that out? I know the newer ones have a copy function. So anyways, you go to Y2 and you just try something, right? Negative 0. Let's say 20 instead of negative 0.3. I'll just do that. X squared plus 3.667x plus 4. So I will keep everything the same, but I'll change a. And there's my second one. Oh, so you can clearly tell when I brought the a value down, you make it wider, right? And so this one would fly past. So example, decrease a, right? Decrease a. So negative 0.2x squared plus 3.667x plus 4. That would be one option. That would be one option. Another option would be changing that the y-intercept, right? So if you made that a 5 or a 6 or anything like that, it would, look at this graph, it would actually shift this up, and then your parabola would be like this, right? It would go past. So increasing, I know it's a bit of a mess here, but increase C is also another option. So copy that exact one you have, just have a greater value for C to make that happen. Okay. All right, so add it up. This one was out of 5 as well. No, sorry. Totally off. 2, 4, 6, 8, right? 8. This one is out of 8. There's a lot going on there. So that makes this whole page out of 13. So add up 13 and add up 8. So that gives us what? A grand total of 21, right? So add that to the front. I will give this one back to you. I'm seeing you next Monday next, right? So you get that long weekend, right? Pass it forward, please. And I think I'm just gonna stop there. I'm not gonna start anything new. Maybe what I will just say is make sure you study for that quiz. I told you I was gonna do another example, right, in your notes of, but I won't have time for that. So I think what I'm gonna do is pose the key. In case you're wondering, what are you talking about, Mr. Dirksen? I'm gonna pose the key in our previous booklet, right? Like we ended up, or did we do all of them? No. So page 27 in our booklets. I'm gonna do that before I leave today and post this one if you want another example of type 2. Okay. But I like to give you a little bit of a help here. I'm gonna focus the whole semester is gonna be focused on types 0, 1, and 3. Type 2, the fencing, is not gonna be as popular. You should still know how to do it, but by far in grade 12, you're gonna also see more of the 0, 1, and 3. So I'm kind of giving it away. So if you need to like decide where to put your energy into, I mean, if you have a test and you do have a type 2, then you should know how to do it, right? But